Pharaoh, let my people go. It's amazing that there is nothing new under the sun, and this is the kind of free thought and discussion that they do not want us having on YouTube. But we're going to have the discussion. We're going to be talking today about where the eclipses of 2017 and 2024 cross. And once you see this, you will not believe what you're about to see. This is the eclipse of April 8th, 2024. We have another eclipse happening sooner on August 21st, 2017, just next week. And there is a place on the map called Makanda, Illinois, in which both of these eclipses will cross. The path of this eclipse will cross the path of the prior total solar eclipse, with the intersection of these two paths being in southern Illinois, in Makanda. And that is going to be the topic of our discussion today. The history of Makanda, Illinois. The place known as the Star of Egypt. Almost if they knew that the solar eclipses would cross one another. Remember, the Egyptians were sun worshippers, fascinated with the sun. We're going to look into this place, Makanda. Now, there's a lot of history behind Makanda, and it had many names in the past. But one thing is certain. The village was incorporated in 1888. And it was first called Markanda or Markans, Markata. These were iterations of this name with the word Mark in it. And of course, when you look at Mark the Evangelist, Saint Mark, they talk about the Church of Alexandria in Egypt, which he founded. Now, they want you to think that all of this is by accident. But it is not. And that's where free thought comes in. Yes, St. Mark was the patron saint of Egypt, the Church of Alexandria. Now, this goes deeper because the Egyptians ended up coming to the United States to found the first Egyptian Orthodox Church in the United States under the name of St. Mark, confirming our findings. So as this name began to evolve over the centuries, over the hundreds of years, we see the evolution of the history of this area in Little Egypt, in southern Illinois. Now, you can't make this up. This was part of the history of our country. And when I opened this video, I talked about God telling Pharaoh to let my people go. Well, southern Illinois was in the crosshairs of the entire slavery issue in the South. And there were debates between Lincoln and Douglas about slavery. And they talked about letting the people go. Yes, there is nothing new under the sun. Shall the manufacturing, agricultural, and commercial interests of northern Illinois be put into Egyptian bondage? And this goes on as Douglas and Lincoln were having this debate about slavery. The hostile crowds and Lincoln coming to debate in this area to defend freeing the slaves. And there was overwhelming pro-slavery sentiment and democratic unanimity in Egypt, and that led to the nickname. You see, the name Little Egypt, because the land of the great Mississippi and Ohio River valleys were like that of Egypt's Nile Delta. There is even a place called Cairo, Illinois, where the Ohio River joins the Mississippi. Many places in the area are named after Egypt and Greek, Middle Eastern origins. Sports teams, towns such as Metropolis, Thebes, Dongola, Palestine, Lebanon, New Athens, Sparta. And now we know what Markanda means. Saint Mark, the patron saint of Egypt. And all this goes back to exactly the same issues that the Israelites faced under bondage to Pharaoh. This is Cairo, Illinois, complete with a lynching of 2 black men accused of murder on 9/11, 1909. Why do you say 9/11, Casey? Because in the Roman calendar, November is the 9th month. NOV means 9. And all of these cities came about through the rail system, the serpent weaving its way across the landscape. The rail backwards is liar. Who was the first liar? The serpent, the father of the lie. And this esoteric stuff goes very deep, because Cairo was at the crosshairs, in the crosshairs of the slavery debate, all going back to Egypt. This story even includes the Knights of the Golden Circle, which Illinois became the center of. This was a secret group devoted to supporting the Confederacy. This is where we get into things that groups that I can't even talk about, or this video will be defunded. But you know the group I'm talking about. The Knights of the Golden Circle were involved in this group, and these protection groups were in cahoots with the White Hats, we'll call them. Who were the Knights of the Golden Circle? They were a secret society. Their objective was to annex a golden circle of territories in Mexico, Central America, Confederate States of America, and the Caribbean as slave states. So now you understand the history of Markanda. The center of these 2 eclipses crossing, the Star of Egypt. And now you understand why all of this racial hatred is now on center stage in America. And as God said, there is nothing new under the sun. Markanda, Cairo, Illinois, hiding in plain sight. And when you use your critical thinking, you begin to understand the truth about the world we live in. And here it is right now, Southern Illinois, Egypt. And now, after I said all of that, you can understand why every fall vultures fly over Markanda and the surrounding areas and signal the beginning of fall and the arrival of the colors in Southern Illinois. And you understand that the postmaster, which has your address or the headdress, which is what the Sphinx is called, which has the word address in it. And you know why the doors of the Israelites had to have their posts marked? They had to be postmarked so that the Lord would pass over their houses and their firstborn would not be killed. Now you understand why Laura is talking about the vultures. Laura, the postmaster, and saying it's kind of creepy to come out of the post office in the afternoon to a tree full of vultures. You see. Now you understand why in 1863 Minerva had a parcel of land surveyed and subdivided, which then became the town of Makanda. And you understand that Minerva is in fact the Greek Athena, who was based on the earlier Egyptian goddesses Isis and Neith. All of this is connected, and it's real. And let this be a testament to the Holy Spirit. This is not something I discovered. This is something that God dropped in my lap. And now you see the truth. That what I've been saying all along, that America is Egypt. The World Trade Center laid out like the Belt of Orion, like the three pyramids, the Twin Towers forming two of the pyramids, and the new World Trade Freedom Tower forming the third pyramid. And now we see the truth, that the Nile Delta, as you see here, superimposed on the Ohio and Mississippi rivers, shows us the Nile Delta. This is unbelievable, because when you zoom in, Cairo is where it ought to be. Cairo, Illinois. Memphis, Tennessee is where it ought to be. And right above Cairo, you see Markanda, which is where the two eclipses will cross at the center of the Nile Delta. The Star of Egypt. You can't make this up. You can't stretch this. There you see the Ohio rivers and Mississippi River forming the boundaries of the Delta, almost perfectly superimposed. This is unbelievable. This is why they chose America for the new Egypt. We were ruled by pharaohs who worshiped the god of war, Wepwawet, the World Wide Web, and they relish in making us all kill each other in war, tricking us into war. Now we're going to study this map in more detail as it overlays the United States and find other cities that match up with the Nile Delta. I can almost bet you this video will be censored. It will be shut down. It will be defunded, because they don't want you to know the truth about this.